Number 5 Oklahoma defeated Bosa, and number 2 Ohio State, and then Mayfield, with all the disrespect in the world, planted the flag and everyone was upset. Flash forward to last night. Bosa, you knew this was coming. You get a sack, you take the man down, and then what do? Quite pettily. I love Petty. Petty Wop. Petty in pink. Do it! Plant the flag! Yeah! Boom! Celebrates, mocks him. You look at them side by side. There's Baker waving the flag. I found all of it at the time to be a little bit blown out of proportion, but apparently it really stuck with Bosa because he wanted to remind everyone of it again.
I think everybody knows what that was for. Just wanted to get payback.
How long were you?
He had it coming. I was thinking, like, do I need to practice it? Is it going to look bad? But yeah, I practiced a little bit in my room.
Did you watch like clips? Because there was a video of like side by side, and it was almost.
It was pretty accurate. The image was in my head pretty good, so I kind of had a good idea. I was just screaming his name, like, Baker, Baker, you good? Come on, pick it up. We want a challenge.
Thoughts on Bosa's flag planting celebration when you were he did that?
No, I didn't know that till I was informed before I got up here. Good for him. Good play.
Okay, so listen, it's easy to pick on Baker, and Richard Sherman gave us a little bit more light into why they were upset with him. He said before the game, here were some quotes from him, what's amazing and annoying was Baker not shaking hands at the beginning. That's some college, it's ridiculous. Respect the game. He hasn't earned anything in this league. How many games has he won? He's acting like he was the MVP last year. If Mahomes did that, it'd be one thing. But he would never do that because he has too much respect for the game. And when you see a guy who doesn't, you humble him every chance you can get because eventually he will have respect for the league or he will be out of it. Listen, Dan Orlovsky, it's really fun to pick on Baker Mayfield. He's the most vocal, and we get that. But what I love about you is that when you're trying to ascribe the issues with the Browns, you really do try to look at the tape and see what the issue is. So when you look at the tape, what's the problem for the Browns right now?
Well, really, last night it was Kyle Shanahan for the 49ers was a professor, and Freddie Kitchens was like a substitute teacher, and it was on both sides of the ball. All right, so first of all, I want to point out George Kittle and their tailback on the same side. If you've watched any tape of Kyle Shanahan's offense, you know what they're going to do is clear out with Kittle and then put the back in a one-on-one option with this linebacker who, for some reason, is checking into the perfect defense that I want you to be in as an offensive player. And you're going to see Kittle clear out the defense, and you get one-on-one with the linebacker, cross-face, easy touchdown. Why would you be checking into that defense in that situation when you knew that's what he's going to do as an offensive play caller? Play number 2, Demetrius Harris, tight end versus Nick Bosa, number 2 pick in the draft. And this is the early interception by Baker. Why are we blocking defensive ends with tight ends when everybody else on your offensive line is double teaming? Don't block defensive ends with tight ends. Okay, now we'll go to another situation. Up top here, this is Dee Ford, this is Nick Bosa, premier pass rushers. I don't have an offensive line that can hold up, so what should I do? Great, Cleveland, you put a running back on that side. How about we go chip and go 3 guys on 2 guys to help to make sure that team can't beat us or that part of that team can't beat us? Well, we don't do that. Easy sack. Let me show you how a professor play caller does it, where he puts tight end, running back in the backfield at the same time so he can block the edges and make sure he can secure them no matter how many pass rushers you have up there. I'm going to protect my quarterback in a throwing situation and make sure the ball can get out of his hands and there's no pressure. Why? I don't understand right now how the Cleveland Browns continue to expose their football team when we have examples of coaches that are professor-like protecting them.
I love a world where Kyle Shanahan is the wily veteran, like the grizzled vet out of this matchup. And listen, the Browns have never really found their footing. However, the boys in Dallas, Greeny, at some point looked like they had a stranglehold on the league. And then
let's talk about them for a moment. After a 3-0 start, you're right, they've dropped back-to-back games when the competition stepped up. And the volume has been there for Dak Prescott, but he's not played well. He's thrown 4 picks in the last 2 games, including 3 against Green Bay on Sunday. Zeke Elliott, his volume has not been there, and the efficiency has dipped. He's averaged just over 3 yards a carry and under 50 rushing yards a game in the last 2 games. And the Cowboys defense has also taken a step back, especially Sunday against the Packers, where Aaron Jones just ran over them. In fact, he became the first player ever to rush for 4 touchdowns in a game against the Cowboys. And so look at these numbers. In their first 3 games, they played bad teams, particularly bad defenses. And you see the fall off they've had as they've stepped up in class, which brings us to the first of our on-the-clock topics this morning, because the Cowboys get so much attention. I got Swagoo and Mike Tannenbaum here. 60 seconds on the clock. Are the Cowboys paper tigers who got fat against bad teams?
Yes, right now, G. And guess what? Jason Garrett has to have a come-to-Jesus meeting right now, because this is his M.O. Get to the big games, decision-making, putting your team in the best possible situation to win. They struggle in that regard. He looks at the record. You look and say, hey, Jason Garrett has had some amount of success. With that being said, he's always been teetering that line. Can he get us over the hump? So it's here now. They got to figure out. It's invested in.
And their fundamental flaw is their run defense. Last 2 games, Saints, Packers, both control the ball for more than 36 minutes. In the NFL, the opponents will rip your heart out until you fix your weakness. Dallas has to fix their run defense.
Yeah, but sometimes, Mike, your offense got to help with that too. Like going 3 and out, turning the football over. You and Dan, I hear y'all. 3 turnovers in a game, you're probably going to lose that one.
It's been interesting to watch the offense and defense, the quarterback, Dan Orlovsky here, versus the defensive tackle on the divide between what's wrong in Dallas, each taking care of their sides of the line of
scrimmage. You turn over 3 times, you better not tell me a damn thing about what we gave up.
That's what I meant. Next topic here, 60 seconds on the clock. If you had to bet your house, which team is going to come out of the NFC this year, Swagoo?
The New Orleans Saints. Because of Drew Brees coming back, they've been able to hold on to these games that we thought they possibly would lose, obviously, to Dallas and Seattle with Teddy Bridgewater at quarterback. This team is playing phenomenal. And the thing that changes it for me, Alvin Kamara and Thomas. Nobody else has that. Nobody else has that duo. So when you get in trouble and couple that with a Hall of Fame quarterback that's going to return to this offense pretty soon.
And I'm going to take the Packers, and I'll start with my Hall of Fame quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, and how balanced they are in offense. Aaron Jones is really running the ball effectively. They're possessing the ball as much as they have going back to 2009. And when they get Davante Adams back, they'll be even that much better on offense. And on the other side of the ball, you look at that back end, they're turning the ball over. They have 4 players back there, 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks that all have had interceptions. They are the most complete team in that conference.
Yeah, it's an interesting question. You know, we should set aside some time another day. We always talked about the Steelers as having the best trio in the sport when they had Roethlisberger, AB, and Le'Veon. Do the Saints have that now when they get Drew Brees back? All right, one more for you here, and this one is going to involve the Patriots. And I'm going to set it up by telling you that our Field Yates has tweeted the Giants, who will be traveling on a short week this week, will likely be without not only Saquon Barkley, but also Sterling Shepard and Wayne Goldman, and possibly without Evan Engram. So that tells you 2 things. One, it tells you the Patriots will likely cruise through this game again and get themselves to 6-0. But I think we also have to ask ourselves the question, are we at all concerned the Patriots haven't been tested? When you look at the teams they've played so far this year, the only decent team they played so far this year is Buffalo, and their offense isn't very good. 60 seconds on the clock. Are we totally sold on the Patriots?
Not totally sold, but totally sold on the defense. Look, here's the issue. New England's history has to play into your level of thinking when you talk about a team being complete. They figured out ways to do it a number of ways. They win games however they need to. So I have no concern about the New England Patriots being the best team in football, because they've always figured it out. And until they don't, I'm not going against the grain.
I agree. And if they have a flaw, it's going to be up front in pass protection. Right now, ESPN, we have them ranked 23rd in pass protection. And you look at up front, they're missing their left tackle. Their center's out for their season. Their right tackle has been in and out. Look, Tom Brady's not getting any younger. At some point, he has to show his mortality, right, Greeny?
Yes. I mean, it's never going to happen in my lifetime. But I think the point of it is that you have to make is they've earned the benefit of the doubt. But they've beaten the Steelers, the Dolphins, Washington, and the Jets, who have a combined 1 win amongst those 4 teams. And then Buffalo. So, look, I mean, it's a legitimate question. If it wasn't Brady and Belichick, we'd be talking about it more. Meanwhile, coming up here on Get Up, here's what we'll be talking about. What if I told you there are people in this studio who do not have Patrick Mahomes as the MVP of the league right now? You'll hear who they do have and why coming up. Plus, the Lakers were impressive in their preseason debut. Jalen Rose thinks it's only the beginning. Wait till you hear what he thinks LeBron is going to do this year. That's coming up. Get Up, ESPN.
The Tank.